evening, and welcome to another exciting show. And touch wood, yes, the internet appears to have been sorted out. And I'd like to, first of all, give particular thanks to Kevin. Now, I won't mention the surname because I haven't had permission yet, but Kevin kindly made a financial contribution to the show, and that's gone towards a SIM card, router, or whatever you want to call it, but whatever it is, it's the gizmo that gets all the signals in, because I've told my internet provider to politely go forth and multiply and current one, and I'm doing this over a SIM card. And this week I can see John Hamer, who is my guest tonight.
Hi everyone.
And we're going to throw the show to the topics in chat. If you've got any topics you want us to bring up, then please say, but we'll stoke the fire with ideas for topics. And John and I were talking about this J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter. Now, John, she wrote all those books, didn't she?
Well,
over to you.
Let's see. Yeah. Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone out there in Chatland. This is something that I wrote a little piece on, and it is only a short one. This is not going to take up anything like the whole program. This is just going to be 5-10 minutes kind of thing. It's something that I looked into. Must be, well, it's over 10 years ago actually. And what happened was I was actually contacted by the father, believe it or not, of J.K. Rowling's child. You know, I think everyone knows that she was a single mother. So yeah, I had a back and two email conversation with him for a while, and then I had a 3-hour-long telephone conversation with him, and it was very, very interesting. I'm not going to cover everything he said at this point, but I'll just give a brief synopsis, you know, so that you get a flavour of it. So yeah, for those of you and your children and grandchildren who've enjoyed this so-called harmless fun and these enjoyably scary tales about Harry Potter, the little heroic boy wizard, and his epic fight against the forces of evil, along with his little pals Hermione and Ron Weasley. You know, what incredibly wonderful entertainment we've all had from the vivid imaginings of Joanna Rowling, that single mother made good, who somehow, against all the odds, managed to drag herself from the gutter single-handedly to become a multi-billionaire and a role model to which we can all aspire. If only all was as it seems. Joanna Rowling is actually, this is what I was told, and I have absolutely no reason to disbelieve it. This guy was genuine. I know that he was. You know, I'm a pretty perceptive person when it comes to assessing lies and untruths, and I can absolutely guarantee that this guy was who he said he was, and what he told me was the truth. He said that Joanna is actually a mind-controlled monarch slave. I mean, there are lots of people about. Yeah, allegedly. And she was selected to be the author of the stories because she was a single parent, and it was part of the Tavistock Institute Frankfurt School agenda to subvert society by promoting extreme sexualization, feminism, and the positives of Satanism, and of course of single parent status as well. So that's partly why she was chosen. Now, she's allegedly also a member of the Fabian Society, of which George Orwell belonged, and also the Church of Scientology as well. Scientology is, as most of you probably know, it's a CIA-run front for the royal bloodlines, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, in other words, the elite. So, as I said, in 2011, I think it was, I had a long conversation with this guy, and it was obvious he was telling the truth because of the detailed story that he told me. And as I say, I've got this sixth sense where liars are concerned, and this guy, I can absolutely say it was absolutely genuine. Now, he said, and this is a very brief synopsis of it, because don't forget this was a 3-hour conversation. He said that in the early 1990s, he, Joanna, J.K. Rowling, Jessica Mitford of the famous Mitford sisters, and her husband, who was called Bob Truehaft, who was he's dead now, but at that time he was a high-powered American lawyer, and he was apparently J.K. Rowling's handler. Now, on a long delayed train journey, he didn't say where from and to, but it said it was delayed for about 4 hours. And this group of people sat down and brainstormed the entire Harry Potter story from beginning to end, whilst JKR took copious notes. Now, this story was then not written by her, it was written by an experienced ghostwriter, with the decision being made to use JK as the front for it, in line, as I said before, with the Tavistock plan for the aggressive promotion of anything that undermines family values, i.e. a single mother status. He also said that it was based very loosely on the C.S. Lewis Narnia stories, but he did qualify that further by saying that he had no idea at the time that all the references to paedophilia, witchcraft, Satanism, etc., which I believe are manifold within there. I've not seen it, but this is what I'm told and it's what I've read. He didn't know that these were going to be incorporated, and he didn't know that he would be subsequently subjected, after he split up with Joanna, to multiple attempts on his life, orchestrated by orders from a very senior royal who is recently no longer with us. So, without mentioning any names, and who he believed was meant to be represented in the stories by Lord Voldemort. Now, again, I don't know the stories, but some of you who do know the stories will know who Lord Voldemort is, and I guess he was like the personification of evil. Now, I can't comment on that aspect particularly because I've never seen any of the films or read any of the books right through. He also told me that the scar on Harry Potter's head is a representation of the symbol of the British Union of Fascists. By the way, whose head in the 1930s was a guy called Oswald Mosley, who probably most people have heard of. By the way, Mosley was interred without trial for the duration of World War II. And he was married to Jessica Mitford's sister. And this guy, Stephen, his name was, I won't say surname, but he was called Stephen. And Stephen also told me that Jessica Mitford told him quite bluntly that he was involved in all this because his grandparents were, wait for it, another of the Mitford sisters, Unity, and Adolf Hitler. Amazing. Anyway, this is what he said.
Links through.
Yeah. And okay, so I then, following on from that discussion, I then undertook some research of my own. I spent a good while doing this on the Mitford-Truehaft connection and found that Bob Truehaft, the lawyer, his business partner in his legal firm for almost 20 years was someone who went by the name of Dobby Walker. Now, this was just a nickname, but even so, her Wikipedia obituary refers to her as Dobby Walker and not Doris Walker, which was a real name. Now, for those of you who are unaware, Dobby was a character in the Harry Potter stories. It was like a little elf-like character who was employed as some kind of servant. Yeah, maybe that's how Truehaft and Mitford regarded Walker. But anyway, in delving even further into Walker's background, it appears that she was an active member of the Communist Party in the 1940s and 50s, as were Mitford and Truehaft. And as you may be aware, too, despite what the elite like us all to believe, there's virtually no difference between communism and fascism in practice, as distinguished from National Socialism. National Socialism and fascism are not the same thing, but communism and fascism in practice are more or less the same. There are differences, but we won't go into that. Now, W. Walker died in 2009. Okay. And also, extremely interestingly, I feel, and my jaw did drop slightly when I unearthed this little gem, an intern by the name of Hilary Rodham began working for the law firm of Truehaft and Walker in the early 1970s. Now, Hilary Rodham now, of course, is better known as the lovely Hillary Clinton herself. Just a coincidence? Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, whatever the truth really is, and it may never be known for sure, there is far more to all of this than meets the eye, as always, and the rabbit hole goes very, very deep indeed.
Wow, that is incredible, because it's like I look on it, John, like a jigsaw puzzle. We're getting pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, and the picture is becoming clearer as we fit the pieces together.
Yeah, it's amazing how you get the same characters all intertwined in these little, what seem like trivial episodes of history, isn't it? But the thing is all connected. It's all intertwined, and it doesn't take much digging below the surface to find this stuff either. It's nothing special about me. I'm not got some kind of magical powers to be able to find this stuff. I'm just
You're an excellent researcher, though.
Well, yeah, thank you.
You do dig deep into research, and you can prove it, everything. But people are probably wondering because this is a sort of linked what tonight's program, the name, dit-dit-dit-dah. Now, Morse. This is actually from Beethoven's Fifth, and it was Morse that was given out during the war, meaning victory. Now, why have I put that title up there tonight? Victory. Well, in any wars are fought in the hearts and minds of people. And we are being continuously demoralized. And we are at war. They're fighting against our mind. It's a mind war. So we have got to be optimistic to win it. And I am optimistic always. And that's right. And when you look at World War II, for example, all right, this is the title, we've got Dit-Dit-Dit-Dah, which was dong, 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 dong again. And if you listen to it, as I've said earlier, Beethoven's Fifth, da-da-da-da, that one. But we was talking about the two-finger salute before we came on here, because that's what Churchill gave. But I always thought, which is sort of true, that it came from Agincourt, where the French used to cut the two fingers off of the British archers. And when we caught French prisoners, we used to stick two fingers up at them to show that we've still got our two fingers. But it also means something else, doesn't it, John? The way Churchill did it.
Yeah, well, Dit-Dit-Dit-Dah is Morse code for V. And the V was not, Churchill's V was not not a victory symbol at all. It was just dressed up as that. What it is, it's actually the horned god symbol, the devil. That's what it was. So he was showing his allegiance to the devil when he gave that sign. That was basically practicing Satanist, the druid, and that's what that was all about. It was nothing to do with victory. That was just a cover story. Yeah, it's typical. This is what they always do.
Well, that's right. I mean, I think better not start us off on Churchill, because I think we'll have about 3 days, and I'm right, 3 hours rather. I mean, I think we won't be able to get a word edgeways with each other. But we're going to do a Churchill exclusive on the Naughty Show. Right, shall we go into chat, John?
Absolutely.
Have a quick look one. Look, see what's going on there. We've got Kevin. Isn't it nice? I can read these signs now, and you can read them. There's no. Actually, I missed last week.
You're not going to disappear on us, Chris, again, are you?
Yeah. Shall we go? I know what I do. I'll switch.
Oh, he's gone again. Oh,
just for the old time's sake. Right. Hello, Kevin. Hi, guys. Make it a good one. Well, we hope so. And thanks to you people, we are. Again, I've got this other router, so or router, I don't know what they call it, router. Ralph Winter, evening, folks.
Hello.
We've got Hatchy, oh land of hope and glory, love, respect to both. Yeah. Did anybody know what film that was from? It was Excalibur film, made in 1981, and the film, shall we say, not exactly historically accurate. Blokes walking around in suits of armour as if they're like a 3-piece suit. But between you and I, don't tell anybody, but I'm a Wagner enthusiast. I think Wagner was a genius.
Well, you and Mr. H are kindred spirits, aren't you, Chris? Come on.
Well, that's right, But no, seriously, I mean, wow. I mean, if I need cheering up, a bit of the old Wagner, Louise, Evening all. Hello, Louise. We've got Squirrel Girl. Howdy, folks.
Hi, Squirrel Girl.
And there's somebody whose name I always get wrong. I always call Jammy Dodger. It's Jobby Dodger.
Because it's got a picture of a Jammy Dodger, that's why.
That's right. Then we got Louise.
Evening, Jobby.
No one gets anywhere unless they're part of the cult to start with.
Correct, Louise.
Oh, yes. And have you noticed that the, shall we say, the maggots are coming out of the woodwork now? Because there's certain, I won't give any names away, but I won't do this symbol on the screen because people think on. But when they cover one eye, you see the amount of people covering one eye now. There's a chap that used to be in the Pythons. And, well, I mentioned his name. It was Basil Fawlty, John Cleese. Why is he covering one eye? And there's that Scottish woman that's on in the mornings, although I haven't got television, so I don't know who she is, but she's seen covering one eye. All very satanic, isn't it? Now we've got here, hello, guys, and all in the chat. That's Blank Wall. Hello, Blank
Wall.
Right, now we're getting into some juicy...
Can I just also say
hi
to Tara if you're watching. Sorry, that's just a personal thing. Hi.
Okay. That's all right, yes. And also, if... this is a funny one. Hang on, I've lost myself in the chat now. Let's go back to Blank Wall. Where is he? Here he is. Right, I just... sorry, Blank Wall, got to switch you off there. Yesterday, I was talking to a person called Town Crier. Hello, Town Crier, if you're online tonight. And I went to a stand in the park at Cheshunt, and we was having a chinwag outside the park, and there's no one around. Now you think it's a Sunday afternoon, no one about. It's semi-rural. There's trees and that around, and we saw a couple. They must have been in their 20s, maybe early 30s. The girl had a sanitary towel over her face, in the park. There's no one around. And the bloke, when they came out the exit, which is, the old-fashioned park sort of, what they call it, wrought iron, he religiously puts his mask on, and there's no one there. The place is deserted. And they go walking down the road, this tree-lined road, and all it is nature around. And me and Town Crier, we're just cracking up. And we thought, well, perhaps, it's as well those people are out of the way. They're so stupid. Anyway, on with chat. And I've gone and lost myself. Where am I? Oh, here we are. Right. Evening, ladies. That's the New World Order is real. I'm still taking tablets. I don't know about you, John, but right, Angela Davis. Good evening, Chris, John, and everyone. Oh, that's nice. Now we've got Hatchy. Any help on survival techniques, wild foods, medicine, etc., with what could be coming might help. Now that's a good suggestion.
It is. Now I don't know anything about it.
I know a little bit. Was it? I think you rubbed two Boy Scouts together to light a fire or something like that. And Harry Potter sat on the toilet. Did he really? It's a modern Alice in Wonderland. White owl, white rabbit. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I thought that J.K. Rowling was patron saint of bad eyesight because I saw loads of kids walking around with Harry Potter glasses once. So I thought, Madge. Hi, guys. Very interesting. Now we got here Louise, the lightning bolt. Can you expand on that, Louise? I haven't got a focus. Got any ideas, John?
No, sorry. Lightning
bolt.
No.
There. No. Right. Sorry. Right. Hatchy. Senior role. Cyrus the Virus, Air Force One. Okay. Senior role.
Serious.
Cyrus the Virus. No. Yeah, need a bit more explanation on that one. Okay. Never watched Harry Potter, nor have I actually. Being an LOTR fanboy. Do you know what LOTR is?
No.
No, I've taken thick
Something of
tonight, so I've been sort of, mind you, I did catch a bit of BBC from someone's radio in their car, so perhaps that's dumbed me down a bit. You know. Right. The New World Order is real. Most of the popular TV series films are about a new world. Example: Harry Potter, Star Wars, Avengers, Prison Break, Mr. Robot, etc. And that's a good one, because when you look at the 60s, some of their programs were a bit weird, weren't they? You know, and then we got and the Hunger Games, all Operation Mockingbird. It's a bit like was it Hodgmore? I've never played in Russia.
It's like predictive programming, isn't it? They're telling us subtly what's coming, or they're warning us what's coming, and then they've got a valid reason to say, "Well, we did tell you." You know, when it all comes true, we go, "Oh, what you did this for?" Well, we did tell you it was coming. Yeah, because that, you know, whether we believe it or not, they believe in karma, and they believe it exonerates them from bad karma if they tell us what they're going to do in advance, and it's called predictive programming, or some people call it revelation of the method. You know, but they always, you know, it's like with the Rockefeller Lockstep document that was published in 2012 or whenever it was. You know, it was telling us exactly what they're going to do and when. None of us picked up on it, and I'll include myself in that, you know, because I wasn't even aware of the Rockefeller Lockstep document until after all this nonsense blew up. But yeah, you know, they do it in very subtle ways, and you know, and they believe sincerely that exonerates them from any blame on anything.
Well, I've always thought there was something odd with James Bond, because very strange with that, because first of all, why are people or young children, and you know, let's face it, when we were young, we probably aspired to James Bond. You want to be a James Bond, but he's actually a psychopath, because he's a cold-blooded killer and has no feelings about killing people. So why is that? And also, this used to get my father. Why is it? Because he called it sewage from China, far-fetched. And we used to watch it. He'd say, "Mr. Bond, I'm now going to light this fuse. And this will run across here and do that and do this, and then you will die." Why didn't the bastard just get a gun out and go bang and shoot the sod and get rid of him?
I know there was all these weird and wonderful ways to kill him, you know, which always gave him time to escape. You know, it was so predictable. But you know, Ian Fleming, you know, he was an MI6 agent, don't you? An active MI6 agent. Yeah, and he was actually involved in the JFK assassination as well, at the behest of the Crown. I mean, this is all in my book, JFK: A Very British Coup. Actually, you know, it's a
good plug. Carry on.
Chapter. Very interesting a bit about Ian Fleming and his home in the West Indies, and how that was used as a kind of an espionage base for doing various nefarious things in the American continent. Yeah.
And the book can be purchased from?
No. You can't buy my books from my website, Chris. They're mentioned on. Sorry. No, it's okay. But
you can read on it.
Yes. No, you can either contact me directly if you want to buy my books, or you can buy them off my Amazon page. I know a lot of people contact me and say, "I'm not patronising those bastards." Or, you know, I'd rather buy it straight from you, John, which is fair enough. And, you know, you get a signed copy as well doing it that way. But yeah, no, sorry, Chris, I don't know whether I've made that plain before, but you can't actually buy my books off my website. I wish you could, but I'm not clever.
You did? Just one moment. But remember, I have taken the thick tablets tonight, so, you know, I'm at a very difficult age. So, and I'm missing hang on a moment, let's for old time. I'm missing that a bit, you know. Right, this is hang on, here we go. That's better. It just brings back the excitement, doesn't it? Now, this is your that's the way you can get into contact. That's email. Right, and we go back into chat now. It's a very British coup. Also, he had links with the most evil man in. Well, what was his name? The bald-headed geezer that was into witchcraft and loved Churchill. Died in 1947.
Alistair Crowley.
He had dealings with him, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Because I've always thought James Bond is creepy, really, when you look at the story. Take a step back and look at James Bond films. They are creepy. There's something weird about them.
When you think about the strapline, you know, not license to kill. Well, what's that about? License to kill? That just sounds so evil in itself, doesn't it? You know, that somebody could actually have a license to kill.
Yeah. And the Avengers, now, I used to fancy Dinah Rigg, something awful. I really did fancy her. I had a bit of a crush on her when I was a kid. And don't know why. I don't know why now. I look back and I said, there's plenty of other women who look quite nice. But anyway, did you ever see that really kinky version of Avengers when she was dressed in leather and had a bullwhip? And that was put out during sort of family viewing time. Do you remember that one?
She wore a leather suit, didn't she? Didn't she always have a leather suit?
She had this thing on with spikes on, and it was really sadomasochistic, whatever they call it.
Miss Whiplash or something, yeah.
Yeah, Miss Whiplash, and it really was kinky. Right. You know, it really was. And as a kid, I used to sit there and go, oh yeah, look, she got leather on. Didn't think twice about it, you know. Right, now we got here Paul Green. Watched all the films with the wife when she was alive. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Paul. And thought they were okay, but at the final film showing we walked out, can't stand any more of them. Was that Harry Potter?
Are you talking about Harry Potter or James Bond, Paul?
Yeah, if you could make that clear. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Harry Potter. Yeah. Don't know. Blank wall. It's vital that we raise our vibrations. Yes, well, we're talking about Dinah Rigg. Sorry, I mean... right. I just come over all hot and sweaty. Hatchy Hatchy has said, and back in the day, we had Zippy, George, Bungle, and Mr. David, the happiness of rainbow. Oh dear, what happened? Well, in my day, it's bleeding foul pot men in black and white. We need Tufty the squirrel to go Rocky. Yeah, that was very strange, John. Have you ever wondered why did they use a squirrel for road safety? It's not exactly one of the best. Has not got the best record of road safety.
So maybe people might kind of have a kind of a psychic link to that. You know, the fact that well, yeah, we've got to be careful. You know, look what happens to all those squirrels that cross the road. You know,
could be and hedgehogs as well. And hedgehog as well. Sorry. I actually like hedgehogs. They're lovely. They are.
Yeah.
Trouble is, I haven't seen one where I live.
Yeah.
For ages. There's a shortage of them.
Yeah.
Right, Hatchy. Blank wall. I've been up for 22 years. Let's have it. I've been up. Have you really?
So
well, got me
that one, mate.
Yeah. Hatchy. Keep it going. Are we talking about Diana Rigg still? I'd leave off the Viagra if I was you and swallow it quickly because you get stiff neck otherwise. Now, good evening, lads. Oh, we've already had that one, haven't we? Yes.
Yeah,
that was Jobby Dodger. Yes. And then we've got here, blank wall, don't lose your snake, love and respect. Okay. We've got here, I think there's conversations between each. There's with his scores. Yes, well, we'll go through it. Oh, we got Paul. Oh, we've got blessings to you, Hatchy. That's nice, isn't it? Then we've got good evening all. That's from Paul Hargreaves. We've got Paul. Kevin Keener. Hello, Kevin. We are all in on it, and they are getting more brave about it now. Yes, I agree with you. I think they're really working hard to wear us down because they know there's too many people waking up. There really is. But I don't know about you, John. I saw what was happening on Saturday. I wasn't there. I don't go on protest marches and things like that.
No, me neither.
What does it achieve? And I think we've got to use subversion, counter subversion against the powers that be. You know, it's. I got the feeling the powers that be are taking the wee-wees. I really do. And, you know, but I don't know, but I've got a feeling once they say, "Cometh the hour, cometh the man." So
Who will that man be, though?
somebody, because you see, when you look at the legends, the beginning of that, the introduction to this show, I decided to go for that because it's inspiring music. It's a bit of Wagner, which is my favourite composer. Well, he's decomposing at the moment, and no, Wagner. It's a terrible one, isn't it?
Yeah, his designer and his coughing, crossing notes off a piece of paper. Yeah?
Well, I'm into all these sort of stuff. That castle in Germany and Prince Ludwig and all that. Was it Ludwig? I think it was Ludwig, wasn't it? But brilliant piece of architecture, and it wasn't done by architects. It was actually designed by theatre designers. But anyway, what I was going to say, or theatre set designers. But I was going to say, I think Wagner was a genius because it's inspiring, very, very inspiring music. Yeah. And I've noticed that all these sort of rallies, they've got, what they call it, rap, where the C is silent at the beginning of the word. And but could you imagine a bit of Wagner? That would inspire people, wouldn't it? Something like A Death of Siegfried, or my favourite is Tannhäuser, but or The Ride of the Valkyries. Brings back sort of, and
I don't
know what the Americans
speaking about Unity Mitford before, talking about Harry Potter. That was Unity Mitford's middle name, Valkyrie.
Really? Because the Valkyries they picked up all the corpses, didn't they? They were the
ones that transported the Viking corpses to Valhalla.
Yeah. Interesting. Because you see, there's a lot of people that believe, and they truly believe, especially down in Cornwall and that Arthur is there to protect the English, and if ever we were invaded, he would come out with his knights. But there's only one trouble: we are being invaded, and he's done sod all so far. So come on, Arthur! Oi, come on! Because we are being invaded by little boats coming across the channel. So where's Arthur? So I think that's a little bit. Then we've got blank wall, Lord of the Rings. Tolkien, wasn't it? Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It was about the First World War, really. So I've never read it. So and we've got here. Yeah, we've got somebody else saying Lord of the Rings. That's right. And then we've got the lightning bolt is Harry Potter scar. Also, sign of fascism.
I'll get you. Yeah, absolutely, Louise. Yeah.
Was a sword, wasn't it? That was what. Because a lot of it was fashionable to have a scar down your face in Germany, and I know that Himmler got a scar down his face because he did sword fighting, and it was sort of like a deliberate thing to show sort of bravery. Yeah. And then when you look at Action Man, what's Action Man got? Scar down his face. Right, we got here the lightning bolt. Oh, sorry, I've already said that, haven't we? Where are we? Touchy blank wall.
Touche. One more.
Yes. Now, Angela Davis. Hello, Angela. I haven't read one of your one out, have I? Dandelions have high vitamin C. Yes, I know, because I eat them. As do stinging nettles. I eat them and all. Pansies. No, I don't eat them because it might send me a bit, And forget-me-nots are edible. I didn't know forget-me-nots were edible. I didn't know pansies were edible. And you can use roadkill. You won't want to use roadkill where I live if we run out of food. Check first, though, that these things are safe. Okay, hatchy. Well, roadkill, I mean, they get loads of badgers and foxes, nice tasty badger, but trouble is, you don't know whether they've got something wrong with them. But there's a load of roadkill around
here. Just on that topic, squirrels are supposed to be the easiest of all prey to catch, and they're supposed to be pretty nutritious as well. This is when the shit really hits the fan. Apparently you just get two pence pieces and you rub them together and it makes a noise like a squirrel opening a nut, apparently, or it sounds to them like a squirrel opening a nut. So they go up on their hind legs and they look around like that and they don't move They just do that for a little while, and you can get them with a slingshot. So I've been told by my survivalist friend. So bear that in mind, everyone.
And you can make a crossbow.
Don't say you never learn anything on this program. Yeah.
And if you go to the German slingshot channel and Todd's workshop, you can make a shot just from a Stanley knife and bits of old wood. You don't have to be a skilled carpenter to make a crossbow. It's a very crude one, but you can make them. I don't like weapons, but you might have to protect yourself or for prey, and things like that. I didn't know that about squirrels. Yes, I get a lot of muntjac deers where I live, dead on the corner of the road, and cats and dogs as well. So you might be eating tiddles of somebody's cat.
Yeah, just thinking about that. Maybe we could get my friend Paul on because he's an expert survivalist. He might have some interesting things if people are interested in survival techniques after Armageddon. Not that there's going to be Armageddon.
Well, I don't think so. I think that we have to go back to old ways of communication, because remember when that happened, that incident happened down the tubes, which was blamed on, I won't say the word, naughty people when it wasn't naughty. Well, it was naughty people. It was our own naughty people, but that's another question. Another thing. All the mobile phones around that area switched off. You couldn't get through. The only way you could get through would be on a landline. And of course, all the telephone boxes would be Cura. But that's, and they can switch our landlines off as well. So between you, I'm doing away with my landline. So thanks to John's advice. So, by the way, thanks, John, because he's advised me. I've had this internet problem. He's advised me through this, and my neighbour as well, who's ex-BT, he advised me a lot. So we're doing well, aren't we? I think this is really well tonight. do you think so, John?
Keep doing that.
Right. Now where are we? Hachi, blank wall. I love these guys, Cyrus and the virus being Prince Philip, reincarnated at a bad time. That lion. He said he would. Oh yes, the bad virus. Well, I always thought that the Queen walked around with a smell under her nose, and Prince Philip looked like the smell that was under it, didn't he? He was like, yeah, hello, always talking down to people. But do you think the Queen is really the Queen now?
Me? Do I think the Queen is really the Queen? I have no idea.
Doesn't look like her now, doesn't it? She never did interviews one time. No, I couldn't care less, really. She's not really a Queen because she's a Norman, and true English are not Normans, you see. And Madge, hello, Madge. Lightning bolt, also a strong symbol sign of Satan. Well, that was the British Union of Fascists had the lightning strike. 2 lightning strikes, didn't they? That was the That was. But if you see Oswald Mosley, he was interviewed by David Frost in the 60s. It's on, I think it's on YouTube. Still.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I'll be on BitChute. And there's plants in the audience, and it was so crudely done. You could tell there were plants, Right. New World Order as well. James Bond Moonraker. Yes, where they go into the film set and they're doing the moon landings. Do you remember that one, John?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I've seen the clip. I've never seen the whole film. Yeah.
You haven't missed much. Crap film.
No, I don't watch James Bond.
Paul Green. The Bond books have a very tenuous connection to the films.
I wouldn't know, Paul.
Yeah, it's something that doesn't really interest me much. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to watch Sean Connery running around, But
Sean Canary, as my brother once called him.
I used to like the glamorous women, and that's why I used to watch it. I used to like watching all the ladies all running around, But buying books directly, but a female Bond wouldn't be right, would it? It'd be a Brooke Bond or something. Right, buying books directly from John means we don't help Bezos go back into space. Oh yes. That's right.
Thank you, Louise.
Jobby Dodger says, I think Flashman was unhinged too. Hilarious books though. Flashman, don't remember that. Do you know that? Flash? I think it's probably American. Is it? No. Are you calling him? Are you from Britain, Jobby Dodger, or it must be the name like that?
Well, no, Flashman was an English character.
Was it? Oh, I didn't know that. She knows that. Sinister.
Oh.
Right. Hatchy. Ian Fleming lived in Goldeneye, Jamaica.
Yeah.
There's a connection with the occultist Christopher Lee, Mr. Scaramanga. Christopher Lee was very creepy, I think.
All
And
connected. Everything's connected.
Because I can never understand. I mean, Peter Cushing, I have the greatest respect for. He was a very nice person, a marvelous actor, very underrated. And it seemed to me, I don't know what it was like offset, that Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing seemed to be the complete opposite. I wonder if they actually got on offset. They just would seem to be just two different characters, you know. But why he went in those crappy Hammer horror films, you know, his talents were wasted, I think, in crappy Hammer horrors. Because
books.
Yes. And then we got here Hatchy. Chris Dinah Rigg wasn't too keen on sausage. She was a dame. I think she might have been. No, we won't go into that. But yeah, I found that out afterwards. But you know, I was only a kid. You know,
Is that a euphemism?
Discovering women at the time. You know, oh, there's those ladies. I'd gone off of Airfix models and Matchbox toys, and that was when I was 43. Paul Green, Harry Potter. Yes. Okay. Don't shatter my Emma Peel fantasies. Yes. Or it wasn't Emma Peel, it was Mrs. whatever. Now what have we got here? Louise Wilcox. No programs were ever good or what they seemed. It was all about programming us into their control.
Right again,
Yes.
Louise.
You're spot right on. And did you notice that those old films of the 60s, looking at it seriously, it's all to do with violence and killing, doesn't it? It's all very, very violent right the way through.
Yeah, I mean, that's true today as well, isn't it? It's probably even more so today. Everything is violence. Computer games, violence.
Well,
killing.
when you look at it, Flat Earth, hello, Flat Earth.
Flat Earth.
But what I was going to say, I mean, at the time, remember Mrs. Whitehouse? I used to take the mickey out of her with everybody else because I was young, and you just do what the adults do, and you think like the adults think. But quite honestly, she did go a bit over the top, but most of what she predicted came true, and she was really quite right in a lot of things she said. She, you know, I mean, I think that they sexualized everything. They've sexualized children, and when you look at, say, the early 60s and the late 60s, what a difference it was. You know, the early 60s, you know, ladies wore long skirts and gloves that went up here and very prim and proper, and gentlemen wore suits. In the late 60s, it was everything goes, short skirts, and that was for the blokes as well. Right.
Get me started.
Hatchy. Chris Tufty got replaced with the Green Cross man.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Laugh out loud. Loving the show. And he became Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it wasn't Darth Vader's voice, was it? It was just the body. Because the voice was that American actor, what was he called? I've forgotten. The black guy.
Apparently, Dave Prowse, the actor.
Yeah, David Prowse was the body of Darth Vader, but it was some American guy who was the voice. You know that. That was I can't remember his name now, but he's been in a lot of things. Yeah.
He's asthmatic, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Or probably he's watching Dinah Rigg. That's where he goes.
Stop it.
Yeah, sir, it's Dinah Rigg again. Right. Kevin Keener. In my opinion, a lot of the speakers are paid. Yes, I agree with you there, Kevin. A lot of the speakers are paid opposition. And I think there's a lot of blackmail that goes on. I really do. Because I've said this loads of times, and I won't mention their names because they could sue me, but how comes a pub pianist starts advertising their and a Cockney actor who doesn't act, who's the same in everything, you know, speak like this all the time. Oh, I'm going to act a part of America. Yeah.
I'm the England football manager as well now, it would seem.
Is he?
Oh, yes, Gareth. Good old Gareth has been promoting the old. Did you say?
Has he really? did you know that his house in America is actually being done up? You see, and the facade. Sorry,
Southgate.
No, the piano player I'm talking about.
Oh. Yeah,
and I think we can all guess who I mean. You see, him and his friend, they're having the front of their house done up, and the entrance is blocked off. So he's only allowing selected contractors up his back passage of his house at the moment. Oh, bit of grammar.
You forgot the comma there.
Oh yes, I forgot the comma.
No, we've
done that. Oh yeah, we had that one, haven't we? Cool, blimey. The thick tablets are really kicking in now, aren't they? The state of propaganda, this is New World Order is real. The state of propaganda today is mad. Don't talk to me about this. The Teletubbies social media said they've all got the, and are ready to play. Only the Lord knows what's actually being shown on telly to kids. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
When I saw Teletubbies, I thought something not quite right there.
Yeah.
Just something not. Yeah. It's a bit perverse.
Yeah.
I mean, as I say, I was brought up with Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Man. And cometh the hour. That's beautiful. I just hope the men turn up. Otherwise, I'm on my own. Yes.
A bit of a cryptic
I think that's very true. I think cometh the hour, cometh the man. There's a lot of fake ones,
Yeah.
And it has happened before, John. But I think we'll talk about that on the naughty show, won't we?
Yeah.
But it didn't happen in this country. But we won't go into that tonight.
Indeed.
Because it'll set off klaxon horns. Anyway.
All of a sudden, the screen will go blank then, won't it?
Cool. Blimey, I say it will. Still got a TV, but no aerial cable.
That is the best kind of TV to have, Jobby.
That's
the
right.
one with no aerial cable. Can't beat it.
Perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then we've got here, Louise says, we win this war. There will be 1,000 years of peace.
Well, let's hope so, Louise. Let's hope so.
Well, good will triumph over evil. But unfortunately, we've got to go through the grim to appreciate the glory. That's a Mr. one.
I don't want to put a dampener on the evening, but I do believe we will win at the end of the day, or at the end of whenever. But I think we've got some severe pain to go through first, unfortunately.
But look on the bright
side. The other end of it either, and we've got to be realistic. Especially me at my age and Chris's age. We might not. It might not happen in our lifetimes, but I do believe that it will happen. Certainly in our children's lifetimes, one would hope.
Well, I agree with you, but look on the positive side. Boxers that have the toughest sparring partners are the best boxers. And you look at some of these regiments that have the toughest 101st Airborne Division. They had the toughest. They were surrounded most of the time. They had it tough. They were good. They become very, very good. 7th Samurai didn't become the 7th Samurai by sitting on their ass watching daytime television. No, because they didn't have daytime television in those days. But no, seriously, when you became my profession, when you became freelance, you did more jobs in 1 year, more projects than a lot of people did in a lifetime. Work that they did. So, and you had the toughest of the projects, the worst of the projects, but it made you. They thought you got a name for yourself. I said, bloody hell, he's done that, because you had the toughest all the time. So really, when you go through the toughest and the grimmest, it toughens you up, and that's what the New World Order realise. And we've got here like the
Meister Singers,
Meister Singers, yes, that's right. We've got Flat Earth, food shortages coming, one big famine, zombie attack. Look out! I don't think so.
Well,
Because,
they're already prepping us for it, Chris. Have you not seen the news about all the you know, I know you don't look at the media much, neither do I, but I do have one source that I go to, as much as I detest pressing the button and going into it. But there was lots and lots of propaganda being spewed out in the last few days about the food chain collapsing, not because of a food shortage, but because all these supply chain workers are being pinged by the app. Yeah. And so they are no longer being able to fulfill their orders, and the supermarket shelves are starting to empty. So we're already being prepped for that. I mean, I don't believe a word of that utter bollocks, to be honest, but I do believe that this is what they're planning. Whether it comes to fruition or not, let's hope not, but this is definitely what they're planning. Absolutely, no question about it.
yes, but the thing is, we're only 3 meals away from a revolution, and they know that.
Well,
so when people are hungry, they revolt. So they'll probably just keep us at a level of semi-starvation or something like that.
Well, how else are they going to get rid of the ones who refuse to take the?
Yes, you got a good point. Hence the reason it's wise to stock up, especially with sorry to upset vegans and vegetarians. I used to be a vegetarian as well, but I'm a meat-eating vegetarian now. You see, stock up with Fray Brentos stuff and also some spam as well. Very good, very nutritious. But I don't buy spam. I buy the equivalent of spam because I'm tight-fisted. Right, Louis Wilcox. The boats are being bought in by the governments to give them new employees when the masses truly awaken.
I presume you're talking about a phenomenon that begins with the letter I, Louise, and ends with migration.
Yes. I'll tell you something I found out today. Now, I have not checked this out, so it could be wrong, okay? Somebody told me this, but it's a bit like bloke up the pub told you, okay? So please don't, allegedly, this bloke Schwab, Slob, or whatever you want to call him.
Klaus Schwab, yes.
And him and all. His mother's maiden name was Rothschild. I haven't checked it out, though. I don't know if you know any more about that.
No, I don't know anything about it, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, put it that way.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either. But again, I like to check these things out before I mention them.
Definitely.
So allegedly, Yeah.
Now,
what have we got here? Haji, Nigel Farage does a wonderful compare when dinghies float in, laugh out loud. MEP, so was Boris's dad, Uncle Tom, and all. It's a joke. What's the Nigel? Okay. Well, I don't trust Nigel Farage as far as I can throw him. He should go back to some news.
Puppet, isn't he? I mean, come on. Is there a politician that isn't a puppet?
Precisely.
No, not a senior one, anyway. That's for sure.
And something I was talking to Professor Gloria Moss, and we're going to have her back on the program again to talk about of 1666. That night, her internet went tits up and my internet went tits up, and it was really funny as John's sitting there, not feeling very well. It's enough to make anybody feel ill. And it's Gloria and I go. But we're going to do a better program, but she's going to tell more, and it's going to be more flexible in the future. And she
my friend Gloria.
That's right. And she says something very interesting. That is, Cameron's father got out. He was of military age during World War II and got out of it. Didn't go in the forces. Corbyn's father was of military age. He was reserved occupation and was in the Home Guard. Theresa May's father saw the Lord, saw the light, and of course was exempt because clergymen were. And there was another one she mentioned. I can't think who it was, but I know that Harold Wilson did not serve in the forces. And when you look at America, Clinton was of right age from Vietnam. He was in Oxford at the time, and Trump had heel problems, and he got medically exempt, but he played badminton with heel problems. That's
George Bush was in the George Bush was in the Texas Rangers, and he, which is all very well and good, but he was actually, rushing because apparently there's a 2-year waiting list to join the Texas Rangers, but he only had to wait 2 days, so that was okay, wasn't it? He was lucky, really. He just dropped lucky there.
Funny, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
because
good luck to the guy. He's a lovely man. I mean, come on.
Really? But no. Well, I know there's a distant relative of mine, relative of my father actually. Her son, this is my dad's cousin. Her son was of military age in the Vietnam War, but her husband worked in the defence industry, was quite high up in it, and and the National Guard, although some National Guard went to Vietnam, mainly they didn't. And he managed to pull strings to get his son into the National Guard. Interesting, that, isn't it? So it wasn't what you knew, it was who you knew.
Well, it's fair enough. Come on, Chris, don't be unreasonable. These people, they deserve it. They're absolutely deserving of this privilege and, unfounded, opportunities that no one else can have. Precisely.
And a little question now. At the same time as the Beatles, the American equivalent, so they say, was the Monkees.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was English, and 3 of them were American. And they were of military age. Why weren't they conscripted into Vietnam? I wonder that. Strange, isn't it? Just a little thought. I'm against conscription, by the way, and against the Vietnam War. But anyway, Louise Wilcox, bows and arrows will be necessary as there will be no ability to drive. So therefore, no real roadkill.
Brilliant point. That's cannibalism. Out of the box thinking there, Louise. That's fantastic. Yeah,
excellent. Yeah. Nothing like a bit of cannibalism, is there?
Yeah.
Arrows are bloody expensive when you miss. That's right. Paul Green, Levi Presley's favourite food was deep fried squirrel.
Oh.
You mean Elvis Presley's, don't you? Because he was a squirrel catcher, wasn't he?
I think Levi's is an anagram of Elvis. Yeah.
Is it? Squirrel pie for dinner then. Well, that's nice. As long as you take the bushy tail out.
Yeah, it gets in your teeth, all that fur.
That's right. Enough bleeding pigeons around here. Pigeon pie. Mind you, do you realise the population of Fockham Hall will go down if they shot pigeons? Because Fockham Hall is populated by 2 pigeons called Eric and Mrs. Eric. Another Eric. Right, Louise Wilcox. Jobby, improve your aim then. Yes, right. Right, Chris Lucas. Hello, Chris. That's interesting about the Teletubbies. I'll have to check that out. Haven't heard of it. I'll probably put that on my show. Hang on, Chris. I said I'd watch your show, and I haven't. Smack wrist, because I've had a bit of trouble with my internet. Does that suffice? I've been because I couldn't really watch your show with internet that's going. Anyway, appreciate that info. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, mate. Right. 7 days of starvation lead to people actually totally irrational. 7 days of starvation, I think, leads to people acting totally irrationally. Yes, I think it does. Yes, they'll do anything.
Very likely, yeah.
Fishing to survive. Brown trout in River Lee. Oh, bloody hell, I wouldn't go there.
The drawback with that for me, Ralph, it's a bloody long walk to the River Lee from here. That's the only problem. But otherwise, yeah, good idea.
Not quite, because there's a big pharmaceutical company who will remain nameless who were pumping hormones or God knows what into the River Lee, and barbells were changing their sex.
Well, when you think about it, Chris, what happens to all the pharmaceutical products that either get ingested or get dumped down the toilet, the unused ones that get dumped down the toilet? Now, sewage is absolutely full of pharmaceutical residue. And what's more, I know this for a fact, that the filtration systems in the waterworks, which clean and treat the raw sewage and recycle it, they do not really remove pharmaceutical residue. So we're all junkies. Absolutely. The water supply is just full of shit and drugs. Well, not literally shit, but you know what I mean? Rubbish and drugs, and you know, they're just not capable of filtering it out. So, you know, can you imagine how many drugs are going down the loo every day? You know, it's just unbelievable, and it's all in the water table now, and it'll never be removed.
Well, you're
Another
right.
cheery little fact for everyone to chew on.
And why have men been feminine? Why are my men so feminine now? Because in the 70s it started with, you know, hairspray and all that sort of stuff, and long hair. Mind you, I had long hair, believe it or not. I mean, I would normally have long hair, but my wig's away being at the dry cleaners at the moment. But but the thing is that I like having long hair because it's natural. And I won't go into that thing about Vietnam and the Indian trackers having long hair.
Were you a hippie?
Sorry, you heard that?
Were you a hippie?
Sorry, I was a hippie, yeah, a bit of a hippie. And but it was, but they feminized men. That was the thing. That they have feminized men. Because now we got here, pellets cost naff all. That's right. But again, you can make your own weaponry. I won't go into that. Better say that. But go on to the Slingshot channel. It's German one, and he talks about zombie apocalypse. Oh yeah. Silent Green. Yes, Flat Earth. One of the most depressing films I think I've ever seen. You ever seen it, John? 73, 74?
Yeah, I saw it when it first came out with the pictures. Yeah, I saw it in Banbury, of all places. The pictures in Banbury, where I used to live at that time. Yeah.
Very nice part of the world. Hatchy, that's the big one. Internet and power cuts. We won't be laughing then. Laugh out loud. Good show. Thank you very much. That's what Bob Monkhouse said. He said when he was young, he told everybody that he's going to be a comedian. And they laughed. We became a comedian and they stopped laughing then, didn't they? Sorry.
That's what he said, wasn't it? It was so funny.
Yeah. Chris Lucas, speaking of Moonraker, that was a horrible movie. But I thought that scene with Dolly smiling with her braces at Jaws was clever. Can't remember that bit. Cat Holdsworth, hello everyone, Chris and John. A bit late tonight. Sorry, we need a note from the parents. Definitely. Do you want to John? Oh, and 100 lines this today. You know, we don't accept excuses like that, do we? Slap wrists. Right, stop reading sodding side chat. All right, then be like that. Right, well, because we've left it open to you and chat for a topic. Yes, right. Now,
I'd only be talking about something boring if we weren't doing this. So, you know, you're probably better off with this, actually.
Well, we were going to go on to other topics, which we probably will go on to on another week because we was going to talk about Tavistock, or John was, Tavistock Institute. What a charming place. And Frankfurt School.
Yeah,
and now
we can do that another time anyway.
Got rid of my TV 16 years ago. Oh, he beat me by about
that's why you've got a blank wall. Oh, right, I get it.
Blank wall, yeah. Right. Hadji, Chris, when it gets to having a robot for a wife, I want the original Stepwood wife, Nanette Newman. Yeah, I liked her, yeah. You never know, you might get your diner rig. Yeah. Oh, blimey, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. Actually, I've got an offer a bit, really. You know, I'll tell you who I did quite fancy. Sally Geeson in, what was it now? Bless This House. She still looks dishy. Yeah, she's still, you know, she's in her 70s, but she certainly does look quite nice still. Right, and what have we got here? I hated Mrs. Whitehouse. Can't say I've ever eaten her, really, but I really appreciate her now.
I know what you mean, Aunt Sally. I mean, she did a lot of. Yeah, I mean, it was the same. I just thought, what a silly old cow. But when you look back at what she's actually trying to do, it was really good stuff. You know, she was trying to stop this this
Yeah.
disgusting cultural Marxism that's going on. Although she probably wouldn't have realised it was cultural Marxism. She just thought it was filth. But you know, she was a. I mean, she was a silly old bat, really, but she was doing a good job. Of,
She
you know,
was.
trying to do a good job. Yeah.
Because, you know, that was it, Till Death Us Do Part. That was written by, I can't remember his name now, but I think he was a Marxist. I'm not sure. I think he was. But that really. That's right, yeah. Because he actually, he named it after a street called Garnet Street in the East End. And I found that quite depressing, actually. I didn't go much on it, really. Then we got Ralph. Because if you watch the movie again, Chris, you'll see she doesn't have braces anymore. Well, I don't know about that. Right. That's the Moonraker film. Right. Paul Green. I think Mary Whitehouse was deliberately placed as a figure of ridicule to get people to ignore what her message was. You've got a really good point there.
They do that a lot.
Do flop, Ike.
Same with a certain truther, alleged truther, whose initials are D.I. I think, you know, that episode with him on the Wogan show was a deliberate ploy to set him up as a figure of fun, so that whatever he said or whatever it came out afterwards, because they knew the internet was coming along, so whatever he said, they knew that it was going to be a problem. So they actually set him up as an imbecile, and of course, for the next few years, just to mention his name, any comedian that just mentioned his name got a cheap laugh. Yeah, not that I'm a big fan of it.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. He was used as the court jester, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's a real setup.
So what Paul said was absolutely right. Yeah.
I often wonder whether, because he looked a bit glassy-eyed on there, but he wasn't the full ticket on that time, whether they put something in his drink or something. And I'm not being personal. I'm sure he's a very nice person. I'm not being rude to him personally. But I just wonder, because he looked a bit sort of not quite with it. Don't know. It's pretty weird. But we got here, no thanks to Soylent Green. Did you know America has just authorized, oh my God, use of human bodies for composting?
It's absolutely true. So everybody will become cannibals.
So your tomatoes have plenty of body in them. Sorry. That does not surprise me. But, that's absolutely. No one understands the Mandela Effect. Laugh out loud. Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird one, that, the Mandela Effect, isn't it? Do you know what that is, Chris?
Well, it's supposed to be, they thought they thought it was it. When they saw him coming out of prison, they thought he died or something.
Yeah, what it was, there were thousands upon thousands of people who remembered attending his funeral 20 years or 15 years or whatever it was earlier. And then this phenomenon became known as the Mandela Effect. But there's lots of stuff like that. I'll give you one example that I'm aware of the Mandela Effect. And nobody knows what it is. Whoever said that was absolutely right. And, you know, I don't even know whether it's real or not. But the one thing that sticks in my mind was that somebody told me, and this is absolutely true, that there was a band in a pop band in the 1990s called Chumbawamba, and they sang a song. I can't remember what it was called. Oh, Tub Thumping, I think. And it went like, "I get down, but I get up again."
I remember that.
Yeah, I'll never obviously get on top of the pop, but you know that was the gist of it. And when you I could have sworn, and everybody else that I tell this story to says exactly the same thing. I say, "What was that band that sang that song?" And they all go, "Oh, it's Chumbawamba." I say, "No, it wasn't." And they say, "God, yeah, it was. I remember it plain as day. It was Chumbawamba." No. Apparently, when you look at anything now to do with that band, they are currently, if they're still around, and always have been, apparently, called Chumbawamba. Right? And this is true. Now you can check anything. You can go. And this kind of reminds me of, for those of you who read 1984 by George Orwell, obviously, Winston, who was the main character in 1984, his job was to change history, rewrite history. His job was to go through all of newspaper reports and amend them to what the current political agenda was. So if there was a little snippet of information in one of the newspapers that didn't fit the agenda, then he would have to remove that from the records and stick it down what was called the memory hole. Now, some people, and again, I don't really know whether it's true or not, but it sounds almost plausible. That is what's going on. Some people believe that they are actually rewriting history. For what reason, nobody knows, or because it's just silly little things. Maybe it is bigger things. We're just not aware of it. But that's kind of the gist of what the Mandela Effect is. These things that are changed subtly over time. There's something else as well. There's another one as well about the film. I can't remember the name of the film now. So it's pointless to be trying to. The one with Tom Hanks where he played like an imbecile.
I know the one.
It was like playing.
Oh,
I can't remember.
see it. It's a name, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, in there's a line that says, "Life
Forrest
is
Gump.
like."
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, apparently one of the lines in there is, "Life is like a box of chocolates." But apparently now, when you see the film, it doesn't say that anymore. It says life was like a box of chocolates. Now, that's just ridiculous. I mean, I've seen the evidence for this. It didn't say life was like a box of chocolates in the original. It definitely didn't. Either that or I'm going crazy. Yeah, that's probably it.
Well, it's like,
seriously, yeah.
It's like play it again, Sam. He never said it. He said, Sam, play it.
Oh, yeah, that's another one, yeah.
In Casablanca.
Yeah.
And if you hear it, it says, Sam, play it.
Yeah.
People heard it as play it again, Sam.
So apparently there are lots of, if you obviously Google it, don't Google it. If you do an internet search for it, there's lots of examples of this Mandela Effect thing. Yeah.
But when you look at things like, for example, now we're both old enough to remember First World War veterans, and they sort of died off, and they used to live all around where I lived, and I heard, because I was a bit of a lonely child, and I sort of was on my own most of the time. I used to sit and listen to their stories because they were all sort of friends, these fellas, and their view of things. I mean, they knew what happened after World War One, to a much greater detail than we know today. And I wouldn't be at all surprised in the not too distant future. Now, we all know that mobile phones didn't really come into mass use until about the year 2000, 2001. But in a few years' time, they'll depict World War One and World War Two with troops down the trenches with mobile phones, because
it could
it's
happen.
Historically inaccurate, but we would know that. But future generations won't. And when you look at things like the propaganda that was put out during World War Two is still believed today, because I've always said there's two versions of World War One and World War Two: is the Hollywood version and what really happened, and they're two different versions, and people believe the Hollywood version.
This is going to be the topic of one of our naughty shows, isn't it, when we eventually get our act together?
That's right. Tonight has been an experiment.
Some really interesting information about the two world wars that we need to get across there. Absolutely. It's in my book behind the curtain, by the way, but yeah, just another little plug there, guys. Sorry. Okay,
that's the book. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, John. Sorry.
No, it's all right, Chris.
This show tonight is a bit of an experiment because my new internet was set up, and I'll be blunt with you. Before the show, I was a bit worried that it's going to go tits up again, but it hasn't. It's held out so well, and well, what do you think, John? I think it's working all right.
It seems to be, apart from you keep disappearing, but I think that might be you doing that.
And thanks to Chris for giving a contribution. It was very kind. And also, I think that people are saying, what is it now? We got here. Now it says, oh, hang on, I missed one here. Isn't there an author named Ralph Winter who wrote about sacred geometry? Yes.
Yeah, he's in chat.
Yeah. And then we got, and he has two children with his husband. Oh, you're talking about, to me, he should be investigated. Never trust any celebrity who wear red shoes. on a dangly earring. Yeah. Actually, I can't stand him.
No, me neither.
Spoke to staff at Lidl, and he said they had all the stock, but everyone had been bing, and nobody there to stack shelves. Yes, I think that's true.
When you think about it, though, sorry to interrupt.
okay, then.
When you think about it, though, wouldn't that be an easy thing to do? Just, whether or not the supply chain's broken down or not. Just ping all the with the app. Just ping everybody in all the food stores and the supermarkets, and that's one way of ensuring that nobody gets to eat, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I went along to I felt a bit thirsty. I was out shopping the other day, and I go to the market, and I thought, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. And I will not go into the main coffee places, but I passed one, and it said, before entering here, you must put your smartphone up and all this, that, and the other. So I thought, well, I wasn't going to go there anyway, so I can shove it up there where the sun doesn't shine. What about elderly people that haven't got a smartphone? And I'll be, there's something that I find very moving is that, we laugh at the Muppets with the masks, but there's an elderly couple that I often see, and he's pushing his wife in a wheelchair, and they've both got the masks on because they probably get wall-to-wall 24-hour BBC propaganda.
Yeah.
And I'm in a bit of a torment here because to tell them about the problems, what masks cause with bacterial pneumonia and things like that, it would be speaking out of turn but I feel it's my duty to try and help them because they're a lovely couple and I feel so sorry for them. Yeah, and they're obviously terrified. You can tell. The
bastards that are perpetrating this, mate, they know all this. They know that they know that it's so hard for people who know what's going on to approach people who don't, and that's part of the blooming strategy. It's all factored in. They are, they're evil people. People being a very loose description for what they actually are, but they are evil personified. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's right, and I do feel sorry for people like that. I mean, I think that people in their 20s and 30s, well, they should be ashamed of themselves, to be honest with you. They really should. But elderly people, no.
No, I do have sympathy.
And now we've got here. Right. So hang on, we've got turn the effing apps off. Yes, probably. Yes, I agree with you there. I think. Actually, she says, I think we're supposed to have 2 hours archery practice on Sundays. Oh, I have mine. Do you, John? Yes, regularly.
Every Sunday I'm out there, mate, in the road, actually. Firing arrows across the wall. But I know what he's saying. I think it's a law that's never been repealed. That
That's right.
Something like from the 14th century, it was mandatory for young men to have to do 2 hours archery practice.
That's with the longbow.
They could be sent as, well, not as cannon fodder, but as sword fodder into the 100 Years' War, basically.
Well, that's right. But we lost our bows at the time of desperation. Yes, but actually, I've actually got a good idea here, an invention. Now, when you go to I haven't been to a fun fair for many years, but you'd see these, those little ducks they had on metal that used to go along and used to shoot at them. Well, there's 101 uses for puppet governments. Couldn't we have people like Boris and that there? Because I feel sorry for those little bits of metal being hit by pellets. And you could have Boris go along and Blair go ping, bash, bash, bash. It'd be good shooting practice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And it'd be a great incentive to shoot straight as well, wouldn't it?
That's right. Oh, blimey, I say. There's a scene, this is Jobby Dodger, there's a scene that was removed in Superman where he saves the boy who falls off Niagara Falls, and when he comes back, Lewis says he must be a small hat.
Don't understand.
No, I don't know. Small hat. Might be an American.
It's not a film I've ever seen. So.
Yeah. But, Now, this is...
Sorry, mate.
This is Louise. You are correct, scumbag. His mother was Rothschild. We have researched the 13 bloodlines.
Thanks, Louise.
So it is. Thanks, Louise, because I know Louise is pretty thorough. As I say,
That's
I only
right.
heard it today, and I didn't research it. Thank you.
That's going in my next book.
And the next one will be called.
It will be called Welcome to the Masquerade.
Excellent. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Right. His past is hard to find. That's old Klaus, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they do tend to.
I'd say something. He looks creepy, doesn't he? He really does look creepy.
Here
in Norfolk,
Mr. Ricky.
Our shops normally struggle during holiday season, but yet they are more well stocked than ever at the moment. But this is a Masonic stronghold.
Where isn't Louise?
That's right.
Is there a Masonic free zone anywhere?
You
I doubt it.
know, and yeah, flat Earth. I have lots of stories of double people doing and saying the craziest things. Someone left their 90-year-old mother at the service station and drove off. Well, I don't actually want to get rid of your 90-year-old mother. You know, you leave her at the service station. Why not? You know,
The next one.
you want to throw out your mother? Leave her at the service station. Flat Earth, 80 mile before they realised she wasn't in the back seat. Sorry.
I should laugh. I once did that to my wife. It wasn't 80 miles though. It was only from the chemist where she was picking up a prescription to home, which was about a mile away. I thought she'd actually got in the back because she opened the back door and slammed it, and I was actually talking on my phone. It was a car phone, you know, hands-free. And so I thought she got in the back because I was parked on the right-hand side of the road, and it was very busy, you know, where the passenger door was. And I thought, well, she's probably, you know, she said she would get in the back because it, you know, it would have been, she'd have had to stand there ages waiting for a car to go past so she could get in. So I thought she'd got in, and I was busy having my phone conversation with my boss at that time. And I drove all the way home, and then the conversation ended as I pulled into the drive. And I looked around and she wasn't there. And of course, she couldn't get hold of me because I was on the phone. So she wasn't very pleased.
I bet she loved that. I like that one. Screw it up. Stop all this squirrel eating talk. That's a good point. Yes.
Sorry, squirrel girl.
Hatchy. Chris, is a good one here. You will find a lot of rock pop stars have parents of bloody hell. Where do we start?
Yeah,
of military background.
Right.
Check out good old. Actually, John, I'd like to have him on one because I think.
Well, Mark's my mate, you know, so it can be arranged.
A few strings, get him on here.
Yeah,
he would be very good for your show. He's on YouTube. I know, actually, I've been watching him. I'll tell you something. He is good. Yeah, rock stars. What is it? The Doors. His father, I think it was in the.
Jim Morrison's father was the guy who was involved in the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which started the Vietnam War, and which never actually happened.
Well, that's it.
Admiral Morrison, it was. It was an admiral. Yeah.
I think that when you look at a lot of these stars in America, I mean, when you look at the 60s, that explosion, a lot of people have said that they had no talent at all, a lot of these people. It was just sort of all hyped up.
Well, they were all military children. You know, like the Mamas and the Papas and all, all that Jefferson Airplane, all that genre of artists. They were based at a place called, what was it called? Something Valley in California. I can't remember it.
Oh,
a guy called.
I can't help you there. Sorry.
A guy called. Oh God, my blooming memory is driving me scatty. Dave McGowan wrote. Laurel Canyon, it was called. Yeah.
Oh.
Dave McGowan wrote about Laurel Canyon, and that is an absolutely fascinating read. If anybody ever gets hold of that, I think he originally posted it on his website. I mean, he's dead now, bless him, Dave. But he was excellent researcher. And he did actually write a book about it before he died. So it's all in there. It's a really good read. Absolutely eye-opening.
Because Mark, he did say that I think it was, he said that this sort of manipulation of music was in sort of starting in the 50s and 60s. I would disagree politely, and I have a lot of respect for him. I think it started in the 30s because when you look at Benny Goodman, they once upon a time teenagers would sit and listen to music and go up, walk out, and that's it. And when they listened to Benny Goodman, they started throwing seats around and getting very aggressive. And Mr. H actually banned that type of music in Germany. So perhaps they knew something that we didn't know. So I'd like to discuss that with Mark, whether it goes back even further. And I think it does. I think it goes back to the 30s, my personal feeling.
Yeah.
But he knows much more about this than I do. So, you know. Right. We got here, what's this now? I just invested in a decent water filter, this Aunt Sally, where the filters last a year. Well, the water around where I live has been passed by the local council, I think. And it's supposed to take all the hormones and fluoride out of your water.
That's good.
It costs £156 and is called Reckin. I'll make a note of that because I've got what do they call it? Brita water filter. And I have to admit, it is good, yes, but whether it takes all the hormones
it improves the taste, but those Brita, they don't do the full job, mate.
Really? Yeah, because I think I'm about 3 months pregnant now. Right, Hatchy, Squirrel Girl, I'm here to help the cause. Would it be good show for a little knowledge? Mark Devlin, yes. I think you have to pull some strings on that one. And we've got here.
Mark, I know he's absolutely busy as hell, constantly. So it's quite difficult to get him, but I will mention it.
Please do. JRMM Shell Shock. Oh dear, can't have that. Ooh. Then we got Chavistock JRMM. We got a new person in chat. Tavistock Institute is partly the reason for the pushing of vegan diets, gay pride. The list goes on.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I put on. I think what we got nowadays is low IQ pride, haven't we?
Just an interesting little fact about the vegan diets. I don't know if there's any vegans out there listening right now or watching, but my friend who I mentioned earlier in the show, who is an expert survivalist, tells me, and I've no reason to disbelieve it because he knows his stuff, that vegan diets are if in the event of an apocalypse or an Armageddon or whatever you call it, vegan diets are non-sustainable. The only reason that vegan diets exist now or can exist now and people can subsist on them is because you can buy things in shops, whole food shops or whatever, normal supermarkets that are vegetarian, vegan. But in the event of the whole food chain collapsing, the whole society collapsing, it actually takes more energy to collect a vegan-based diet than it does than you actually gain from eating it. So you can't actually sustain it. Okay, so you wouldn't last very long on a vegan diet without being able to purchase things in shops. So there you go.
I didn't know that part.
The stuff that is wild that you could gather would not sustain you. You would use more energy collecting it than it would actually put into your body.
Well, that's interesting. That's because I once became vegetarian, and I'm talking about 20 years ago. Then I became vegan. And I think what it was, I was going through a lot of stress at that time. I was going through basically living hell in many ways. And then somehow, I don't know, something clicked in my brain and I came back to becoming a meat eater. I used to walk around saying, I don't want my stomach to be a cemetery for animals. And yes, I don't think I'd find it difficult to kill an animal to survive. But if I was hungry enough, I probably would. It's a moral thing, but really we are designed to eat meat.
I believe so. I believe so.
You know,
My youngest is a vegan, but he's currently reconsidering actually.
Yeah.
He's been a vegan for a couple of years. But he's realizing that he needs more nourishment than he's actually getting. I'm not saying it's true for everybody because we're all different. Our metabolisms are all different and everything. I would not. Don't take this. If anyone out there listening or watching is a vegan, don't take this as a criticism. It's not meant as one at all. If you're happy, with that kind of lifestyle, then who am I to criticize? But I'm just kind of putting a few facts out there to digest. If you pardon the pun.
Well, I agree with you because I think that there's supposed to be, is it 5 food groups that your ancestry falls into, where you could be a rice eater or something else eater or whatever. But it was bacon for me. I like bacon. I think bacon is very delicious. I happen to like bacon and corned beef. But bacon is top of the list for me. So sorry about that. I upset all the vegetarians.
I don't think
chops, piggy pork sausages,
all
lovely.
Close-minded vegetarians and vegans to be actually upset at the thought of someone else eating meat, wouldn't they? I mean, surely it's each to their own. I would never criticize anybody for anything that they want us to do. Whether we're talking about nutrition or otherwise. I'd love to be able to subsist without meat, but I just can't do it.
Same here. I have no energy.
I can't do it. It's as simple as that.
I was tired, consistently tired, no energy. Have you ever seen the play made in the 70s called Nuts in May?
No, I've heard of it though.
It's worth seeing. They're about a couple of very creepy vegetarians on holiday in the West Country. It's a classic. I think it might be on YouTube. Right. I have seen it, called Nuts in May. Okay. And it's a couple that went camping. It's dated now, but it's very, very funny. Right, well, we've been an hour and a half. Should we wind up now? What do you think, John? I think
we don't want to answer our welcome, do we?
And well, thanks for coming on, John. And thank you, everybody in chat. We've thrown this out. Sorry, we put this out to people to come and make suggestions. This is a new experiment. I've really enjoyed tonight. And this, again, has been an experiment to see if my internet's working okay. And it is. I've got no... it's so relaxing to sit here and know that the thing isn't going to go tits up any moment. It was... I'll be straight. I was like... And after the show last week, I was like Basil Fawlty when his car broke down, I warned you.
You got the branch out.
Yeah. Oh, bloody hell. I mean, seriously, when you're doing this, you're building up a nice audience. And I'd like to say thanks to everybody in chat. Absolutely fantastic. I'm sorry I haven't read everybody's out, but we will read the chat after the program. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody that's supporting us. It really is appreciated. Next week, we will be having Deborah Hatswell back on the program. She's given a lot of advice on the internet. She's had internet problems, and we're going to have an interesting show there. We're going to get Professor Gloria Moss back as well, and if John can pull some strings, we may get what's his name? Mark Devlin on. So, let's hope so. So we've got some exciting programs coming up. Thanks, John, for joining us, and thanks for helping to get my internet back running and
welcome.
Or the advice that you've given. And I think it's an improvement because I'm doing away with my landline because you don't need it. What do I need a landline for? And I'll keep getting these. I've had phone trolls making weird phone calls and that. So I won't have any of that. I've just switched into
your mobile number.
Yes, so there we go. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody. And remember, we've got to keep positive, and above all, what the psychopaths that are running things don't like and don't understand is our sense of humour. Laugh at them. That's the best thing. You imagine Boris standing up saying, "We've got to go," everybody goes. It'd be funny, wouldn't it? Have a laugh. Anyway, good night and
night, everyone.
Good night. Bye. And see you next week. Same time, same place.